And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Moving on into satellite imagery, pretty good system here coming up across the Alaska Peninsula, eastern Aleutians. Another band coming into the Alaska Peninsula there with some clouds spreading into Bristol Bay. And then clouds coming northward, linking up with a weak front right through here, bringing some light rain and breezy conditions to the Pribilof Islands, and some light rain and gusty winds here to the eastern Aleutians, and especially the Alaska Peninsula. Peak wind gust 48 miles an hour at Nikolsky with this system, about 46 miles an hour at Cold Bay. Much better conditions out to the west, and continuation of variably cloudy skies, dry conditions over the interior here. Have a band of clouds, maybe a few flurries there, just kind of skirting the eastern Arctic coast there. Dry over the southeast coast today, as well as south central Alaska with some areas of sunshine. And on the chart here, just basically clouds, areas of clouds over interior Alaska, dry from the Arctic coast southward to the Gulf of Alaska and along the southeast coast as well. Winds much lighter there today, and some areas rising in the lower 50s, especially, or mostly in the 40s, maybe lower 50s down over the southern southeast coast. And temperatures rising into the 30s and 40s here across south central Alaska. And pretty nice conditions with light winds again over the interior. And then the windier conditions associated with this front that's still south of the eastern Aleutians here. And then a very weak system here we'll see tonight that moves northward, so periods of rain will continue. Lighter winds though for the eastern Aleutians, but still a little gusty here in advance of that front there for the Alaska Peninsula, but neither the wind or the rain will be that heavy. And some light precipitation, low clouds, fog, drizzle, light rain up across the Pribilofs with this remnants of that front there that'll extend up to the St. Lawrence Island area. Some of that moisture may make landfall along the Yukon Delta coast during the night tonight, more likely though Nunivak Island. And then that break behind the system, next front starting to edge in toward the western Aleutians. No change over the interior, dry, light winds, Arctic coast, all the way down to the Gulf of Alaska and across the Panhandle. And we'll see for Thursday, high pressure, big area high pressure here over western Canada into the Northwest Territories. Continues to ridge in over the eastern central interior of the state here, keeping it dry right out to the southwest coast, and mostly cloudy with southeast flow there close enough to this moisture source or Kodiak Island. That'll make for a cloudy day tomorrow, but sunshine for the Panhandle, southern Alaska, variable clouds, central interior. Up to the Arctic coast, start to see the winds increase late in the day as this weak Arctic front begins to approach. Areas of rain and moisture, again, right along the Yukon Delta coast, Seward Peninsula, and with trough right through here across the Pribilof Islands. And front still staying south of the eastern Aleutians will keep windy conditions with light rain at times for the area from about Pilot Point on down to False Pass. Eastern Aleutians continued occasionally damp conditions there, definitely cloudy. Wind's not all that strong, and very weak system brings some light rain into the western Aleutians. Outlook for Friday. A little bit better low pressure area now in the Gulf of Alaska. We'll see how that moves, actually coming off the chart here and then right on up to the northwest there into the central Bering Sea. Front associated with that pushing just east of the Pribilofs in the afternoon hours, so winds will diminish there, but periods of rain and southeast winds may be gusting 45 miles an hour for the Alaska Peninsula, and winds will increase. Southeast winds increasing along the southwest coast, or east-southeast winds. Maybe a chance of rain for the Yukon Delta coast again, and some of this moisture getting a little bit farther up toward the Kodiak Island area, so cloudy skies there. Right now, hold off in the rain, but chance of snow with this weak trough, Seward Peninsula, Kotzebue Sound, Noatak Valley areas, maybe Selawik, but amounts will be quite light. Same thing with this, few skiffs of snow clip the eastern Arctic coast, and that's about it. Dry, light winds, interior Alaska. Some areas will see a fair amount of clearing. They'll extend right on down the southeast coast once again. Lows tonight down that way, not too bad, upper 20s to lower 30s, and anywhere from 5 below to 15 above from the Copper River Basin right up to Arctic Village there. Teens, central interior warming into the 20s and then 30s, upper 30s, St. Lawrence Island. And in the teens, eastern Arctic coast, upper 20s on the west side, near 40 for the Pribilofs, lower to mid 40s for the Aleutians. On Alaska, though, looking at a low of 47 degrees, 34 at Kodiak, and in the lower 30s for Bristol Bay. Highs tomorrow, Kuskokwim Valley, upper 30s or lower 30s north to upper 30s south, into the mid 40s for Bristol Bay, lower 50s for the Alaska Peninsula, eastern Aleutians, and mostly in the 40s or 45 to 50 southern Panhandle, mid 40s to the north. Not too bad up here in the Tanana Valley, upper 20s to lower 30s there, with 20s all the way up to the Brooks Range, and mid 30s for the mid to upper 30s for the central Arctic coast, westward there down to lower 40s for St. Lawrence Island. And for the lows the following morning, dropping back a little chillier here, but staying above zero now over the eastern interior, but a little cooler back to the west here, anywhere from 8 around McGrath and Nikolai to 23 up at Ambler, upper 20s for the Arctic coast, and 20s to mid 30s for the Panhandle, 40s for the Bering Sea, followed by highs in the lower 50s for the Alaska Peninsula, once again, upper 40s Pribilofs, lower 20s for Arctic Village, eastern Brooks Range, but 30 to 35 for the Arctic coast, in the 40s or near 40 south central Alaska, and well into the 40s for Bristol Bay, near 50 Kodiak Island, 45 to 50 southern Panhandle, otherwise in the 40s.